So normally, do you guys usually go for receivers in PPR or running backs first? Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, if you have number one pick, you're probably taking him. But you got Michael Thomas up there, people like him. What do you guys like to do with your first pick, receivers or running backs?
Yeah, so for me, the first two rounds, I'm not worried about position at all. It's who's going to get me the most points. After that, I have like two different strategies based off of that if I did take wide receivers early or running backs. But I think you made a good point with where does Michael Thomas fall in this? And obviously, we haven't done our top 10 running backs. But after the third running back, for me, I'm probably taking Michael Thomas just because of the safer bet. And then after that, there's some running backs I feel I can get in the later rounds that can fill my team.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. If I don't have a top three pick, then I'm probably going wide receiver, honestly, because if I have a top three, most likely I'm going CMC, Zeke, or Barkley, anywhere in those top three. If those three dudes are off the board, then odds are I got to go wide receiver. If I'm like 10, 11, 12 in there, then like Gibby said, it's going to be whoever's going to contribute the most to my team. I don't care at that point, position-wise, but I do think top three positions you should go RB.
Nice. Okay. Well, this is a Nosebleed perspective, and we are running through our running back power rankings for fantasy PPR purposes. It's our second round, so we're going to be going 19 through 11, and that'll leave us with our top 10 for our next episode. But I'll go ahead and start this off right away. Coming in at number 19 for me, I have James Conner here. So this is a guy Gibby had fall a little bit. I feel like people will have him higher than this spot, as well. But he, like you said, he was kind of an issue last year. He's going to get that volume just because, I don't know. He might not, though. Benny Snell, I think they like him. Jalen Samuels, it was weird how they used him last year in that Wildcat formation. I don't know. Just not big on Jalen Samuels either. But I think he's going to get carries. He's going to be there in those mid rounds to take if somebody – but you never know. Steelers fans probably take him early. Who knows? I don't know. So look out for him. He missed 6 games last year to injury. Maybe he gets a little better fantasy-wise with Big Ben, but that's who I have in 19. I'm not really sure where to put this guy, to be honest. I took him like second or third round last year in my standard league. And boy, just fucked me. Anyway.
Yeah, beat you up.
Yeah, it's bad. It was a bad choice. That's why I got him a little lower this year.
All right. So for me, I got a guy with a little bit higher ceiling, but a way lower floor with my Kansas City Chiefs for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So there's 3 things that are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Andy Reid's running backs putting up massive fantasy points. Teams are going to be scared of that passing game, but he's going to be there for the check down and everything. With this, there's kind of a caveat. You're going to have to take D. Will earlier than what he should be taken just to kind of take that risk off for the first few weeks, with no training camp, COVID and everything. I really like Clyde. I love rookie running backs. I think if he's in the third round, I'm absolutely grabbing him. No questions asked. But
third round.
That's where I got. Third round. I would take Clyde third round.
Oh,
damn.
Wow. Yeah. So I've got another guy that'll probably be handcuffed in some leagues, depending on what people think of him or the rookie that they drafted. But I'm going Marlon Mack here at number 19. I think that this dude is just an absolute stud. He put up some solid numbers last year. He really ran the ball well last season. I think the Colts have a solid O-line, and Phillip Rivers might just have to give that ball off more than he blindly throws it. So I do think that Marlon Mack here, he's a solid guy. The reason I would have him a lot higher, like in my heart of hearts, I wanted to put him higher, but just knowing that they've got some solid running backs on that committee with him, I had to put him at number 19.
Yeah, like you said, that committee's tough because he did show a lot of bright spots last year. But, man, drafting that rookie running back is just hard. He didn't make my list. I just don't know what to do with any of those running backs. But it's a good point, though. Phillip Rivers not going to be he's getting old. So, all right, number 18, I put Leonard Fournette here. This one it's just hard to place Leonard Fournette. If he is with the Jaguars, Obviously, he's their focal point, but I don't know if he wants to be with the Jaguars. So, it's kind of, and Gibby kind of hit on it too. If he gets traded, I mean, look out for this guy to be the guy to take you far in your fantasy league. You kind of touched on the receptions. I mean, come on. I don't know. I think he's an RB1. He usually goes in the first or second round. So we'll see. We'll see where he lands with you all. But I have him at 18.
All right, good point. So for 18, I got David Montgomery for the Bears. They made no offseason moves at running back, so they believe that this is the guy the organization does, the coaching staff. He's going to have volume, so even it doesn't matter in fantasy like how you feel about his talent or anything. He's going to put up points. He's going to get opportunities. He's a really good running back at Iowa State, but that was 2 years ago, so he's really going to have to step it up. If you do take this guy, you're going to have to grab some other running backs as well, but I think his ceiling could be good for you.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So for number 18, I've got old Austin Eckler here. I like him a lot, man. I do.
Do you?
I just I mean, number 18 might be a little contrary to that. But I don't know, man, especially if Tyrod Taylor ends up being the starter over there, like Tyrod's going to be the running back. I don't know. I mean, Eckler is a good check down guy. He's a solid dude. They obviously pressed forward without Melvin Gordon, and before Melvin Gordon came back last season, Eckler was putting up some serious points in fantasy. But I just think that there's going to be a drop off for Eckler this season, and yeah, that's why I have him at 18. I don't trust him as much this year as I would have last year.
Okay, it's fair, I guess.
I know he's your guy, Logs. I apologize.
He is my guy. Okay, so 17. I'm going to go with Ronald Jones here. I think obviously we talked about him in the last episode with you two, but look, do you think James White would be who James White was the past few years without Tom Brady?
You can't compare Ronald Jones to James
I'm
White.
just
Ronald
saying.
Jones is trash.
Look, he's going to be in a whole different offensive, like a different quarterback who loves that check down game. He made James White into a PPR monster. Like I said, he's going to be the starter. He's going to get that opportunity. I think Tom Brady will really kick him into gear. I think he's going to get those opportunities and finally make the most of them. So, yeah. I like him here. So, and people are going to be worried about those receivers. So those check down opportunities are going to be there. And what does Tom Brady love to do? Throw it to his running back. And,
that's why they drafted one.
I mean, he's going to get his opportunity. I mean, maybe, but I just think Ronald Jones finally is the guy who, I'm not taking him in the first two or three rounds. I'm not, it's not like I put him in the top 10, you guys. Jeez. But, number 17.
I'm just biased towards him. I hate Ronald Jones. I drafted Ronald Jones last season. Yeah, I drafted him because he's gonna be the guy. No, he wasn't.
Was not the guy. Well, that's because James Winston was just trying to chuck that ball downfield. Not even probably wasn't even looking at the other team. Yeah, so I don't know.
All right. So for 17, I've got the terrible Denver Broncos running back and Melvin Gordon. He tried to do the whole holdout thing. Didn't work out for him. Kind of lost a lot of money for it, but he's still getting paid. He's talented for sure. No one can doubt that. I was also super surprised that he went to Denver of all the teams that, maybe needed a running back. But that says something to me that they really believe in this guy, with Drew Lock really needing the check downs. I don't believe in his arm, as you guys know. So obviously I'm going to believe in their running game and check downs and everything like that. And I mean, Philip Lindsay, averaged over 1,000 yards per year in his career, and they're just not going to throw that away. I do like Melvin Gordon as my RB2, but there's definitely going to be some issues there. Talented guy.
I'm upset with Melvin Gordon going to the Broncos because I've been a Philip Lindsay guy for the past few years, so that kind of hurt me because I'm definitely not going.
I love Philip Lindsay. I feel like Philip Lindsay can play ball. I feel like he can be an RB1. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and he was always around like the 9th round. Like he was always there. So okay, I'll pick him. But for number 17, you guys already talked about him. James Conner is what I've got here. I trust him a little more than you guys because I think about a few years ago when he was just an absolute stud when Lev Bell was gone. But
Well,
I don't know if he gets injured. Obviously, like he's a little risky because of the injuries, and then also they do have a couple guys back there that can run the ball for him. So I like James Conner, just I don't like him enough to put him higher up.
All right, so I got James Conner at 25, and you got James Conner at 17.
Yeah.
I'll bet you $50
Yeah,
he
and
doesn't
Log-
finish as a top 20.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's go
All
for
right.
that.
Cheech just takes
I got
every
that.
single
Let's do it. No matter what.
Jesus Christ.
Top
It's
20.
split the difference. I like it.
All right.
Top 20. All right.
Oh boy. All right. So number 16 here. Right. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Le'Veon Bell. Was it Cheech you hit on him? Where did you put him again? Like 20
10 people ago.
Yeah.
26.
So long ago, we forgot.
Yeah, like so I think so last year he was probably excited to get that new contract, go to a new team after everything that happened in Pittsburgh. And all he did last year was just get absolutely smothered every single play. And I just feel like that hurt his confidence. I mean, I don't think it hurt his confidence. I think he's fine. He's getting paid. But what, like, he just knows that, like, all right, I'm on the Jets. I think, I'm going to average 2.6 yards a carry and, like, maybe get a couple touchdowns. And like you mentioned before, Frank Gore's there now. So they're going to pad those goal line stats to him. So be aware of that because that is a real thing. Like, I think that is definitely a real thing when it comes to fantasy.
Yeah, he stole from Singletary.
Those touchdowns, at least cut in half those opportunity on the goal line, the 1-2 yard, HB dives right there. So I think that's a real thing. So, yeah, I mean, he had 3 rushing touchdowns last year, 1 reception. He has a little bit better tackle in Mekhi Becton, who really boosted that Louisville offense last year. We were a really good running team. Obviously that doesn't translate, for sure in the NFL, but he has to do a little better this year, right? I mean, come on. So
I hope so. Like I want to believe.
I know it's hard. So I have him that's why I'm here at 16. So who knows?
Son of a bitch.
Come back, just please unfreeze.
Oh, he's there.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He's good. He's good. He's good. Just so our fans know, he froze up, but we're good.
All right,
we
16.
got a little scared.
All
right, 16. I got the same guy, man. What are the odds? But like you said, he had no great games last year. There's not one game you can look back and say that this guy won me a fantasy week. He won me $10 if you do one of them stupid payouts per week. But you're going to pay a lot less for him this year. I know there's not a lot of mock drafts going on right now, but right now he's going at the very last pick in the 3rd round. So if he's there in the 4th round, you best believe I'm grabbing Le'Veon Bell. He has 3 new linemen, like Log says. So there's hope there for sure. Maybe if there's some more ghosts out there in the field that they'll keep handing it off. So.
Never ran for 100 yards in a single game last year. So
Yeah, I know. Thanks. So at 16, I'm going to the ultimate check down, a guy that would be an RB1 at 27 other franchises, Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is just an absolute stud. He kicked a woman, and all of a sudden that made him an RB2 on the Cleveland Browns. Like, the dude is a monster. He's a great running back. I think that he's going to put up some serious fantasy points. When he came back last season after his suspension, he was getting like at least, I think he averaged like 6 or 7 catches a game, and he was averaging at least like 50 yards. I mean, right there's 11 points. Though a touchdown in there sporadically, you're talking 16 points. Kareem Hunt is going to be a solid guy. If he's available in 3rd, 4th round, I'm looking there.
Yeah, I mean, some dangerous dude for sure. All right, so 15 now. I'm going to go with, this pains me, but Todd Gurley here. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with this guy. It's obviously, we all know that he's just been not playing the past couple of years. So I mean, he did get a lot of goal line touches last year with the Rams, but he had 14 total touchdowns. That's in itself enough to put him in those like mid-range, third, fourth round. Obviously, I think I got him in the third or fourth round last year. But and he has a similar quarterback. I feel like Jared Goff and Matt Ryan are pretty much the same when it comes to like their athletic ability. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Losing to the Pats in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, there you go. Good.
Yeah, exactly. They run a lot of screen plays. They're used to it. Devontae Freeman was a pretty good pass catching running back out of the backfield. So, but I'm just kind of confused on Todd Gurley right now. So I wouldn't go all in for him. But if he's there, third round-ish, fourth round maybe. But people are probably going to take him early though. New place. He's in his hometown now, so people are definitely going to, if they see him, he's a feature back, I guess. But, that's just my thoughts on Todd. Really not sure. Wish him well, but Jesus Christ, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's a good point. 15, I got a guy that CEO Logston gave me a lot of shit for having last year, and Chris Carson. But I don't know what there's not to like about this guy. He had 50 targets last year. He has no competition in that backfield. They're going to bring someone in to give him some competition, but there's no one that's competing for that starting job. He had 270 carries last year. He's coming off an injury, but this team is going to run the ball. They've always run the ball. He's healthy. He was a 7th-round pick last year. You're going to have to pay a lot more for him this year, probably 3rd or 4th, kind of that group of guys we're talking about right now. But I would love to have Chris Carson strictly off volume and this team's just desire to win right now.
Absolutely. I also have Chris Carson, number 15. Well done. I mean, I had him in one of my fantasy leagues last season, and he delivered for me. And like you said, Russell Wilson needs help on that offense, and Chris Carson has no competition in that backfield. So
we'll see.
Chris Carson's going to be getting the ball. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they just randomly find a dude. I don't know.
They got it.
But Chris Carson's he's gonna deliver, and he's gonna deliver heavily this year. I think the reason that he is at number 15 is just because we haven't really seen him break out. This is a guy that if he breaks out this season, will be in the top 5 next year.
I mean, if he can hold on to the ball.
Pete Carroll don't care. He's a pushover.
Yeah, he is. I mean, it's a good point. Chris Carson is going to go high in a lot of leagues. I put him pretty low. I think I had him at like 23 or something. I don't know. Yeah, 23. So I can't go all in on Chris Carson. All right. So what are we at now? 14? All right. So for number 14, I have a guy. Look, this dude is an RB1, a top 2 or 3 running back, maybe, top 3, I would say, if he's by himself on this team. Kareem Hunt's going to cause him a lot of problems, but I'm going with Nick Chubb here. Look, he's a great running back. I love Nick Chubb. I love to watch him play. I think he's a beast. But I think that the Cleveland Browns are going to use Kareem Hunt a lot more and more throughout the season. They're going to notice the talent they have with him. I'm not saying Nick Chubb is just going to go by the wayside, but I think they're going to be 50-50. And it's just going to put him to a point fantasy-wise where he's not going to be getting those numbers of a first, second round. I mean, maybe late second round. He's going to go probably late first round, early second round. He's going to go. But for me, I'm going to wait. He's probably not going to be there. But I think Kareem Hunt is just going to cause him a lot of issues when it comes to production throughout the whole season. So just look out for him. You got to beware. Like I said, I love the dude, but Kareem Hunt's just a fucking guy. So
yeah. I'd probably handcuff, like if I can get Chubb late in the first, then get Kareem Hunt like the 4th, and then have him start in the flex.
Yeah, but are you gonna waste 2 of your top 4 picks on the same team though? I just don't see that.
I mean, the Browns are a playoff team, so yeah.
Oh boy,
yeah, for sure. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points to go around there.
A lot.
At 14 this year, I'm going to go with a guy who finished 14th last year. It just kind of fell that way. He's a player that brought the LA Rams to a championship, and then all of a sudden just sat on the bench for half a season and everything. But he still finished RB14. He had a lot of good games last year if you owned him. The dude's super talented, and what's the worst thing you can do for a guy that's super talented is he put his chip on his shoulder. This dude's going to be running for the end zone every freaking play. I would love this is a second round guy to me, late second round. If I grab, wide receiver or whatever. And I would love to have him as my second running back this year.
So
Yeah.
So if you say you take your first pick, say you have like pick 11 or 12, late first round, and it's coming back to you, Todd Gurley's sitting right there. I guess it depends.
If I took CMC as my number one pick and then got Todd Gurley as 2, and then I grab a wide receiver to turn around on the loop, I'm waiting.
I mean, granted, Todd Gurley.
If you're the number, like he said, if you're the number 11 pick and you got so if you're number 11, you're drafting 13th again. So are you going number 11 and then are you taking Gurley number 13?
No, it's got to be late second round. Okay. Second round, early third. It's got to be on that loop.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're early first, you're going to be taking him late second, but if you're late first, you're not taking him early.
I'm not taking him.
Copy. Okay, cool.
Sorry, go ahead, Cheech.
At number 14, I'm going with the guy that he was a diamond in the rough in Miami, and then he got traded to Arizona and blew up. Nobody knew that Kenyon Drake had 200-yard games in him. Nobody knew that this guy was going to put up 30 fantasy points in a single week, but he did that. He did those things when he went to the Cardinals, and I think that Kenyon Drake is going to deliver for the Cardinals this season. So I believe in Kenyon Drake, and if I have a late second round pick, then I'd probably take him. Otherwise, I'm going early third with him. If depending on where I fall in the draft and depending on where he's available at, I believe in Kenyon Drake this year, and I would like to have him on my team.
Yeah,
especially because the Cardinals going 10-6.
Well, that's to be determined.
15 rushing touchdowns, Kenyon Drake.
$50 in my pocket. Yeah, so all right, we'll stick with Kenyon Drake. He's my number 13 guy. He's the single hardest running back to place because the volume is there for sure. He obviously blew up when he went to the Cardinals, but I mean, like I said, let's not forget who this guy was before he came to Arizona last year. He was a no one. He never had more than 4 rushing touchdowns before last year, or even came close to 1,000 yards. He did obviously go to Arizona and have a pretty good year, averaged 15.3 points per game. But I just don't see him because I feel like he's going to go top 5 to 7, 5 to 8 in running backs. I think he will. I think people will reach for this guy. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like pretty much everything Cheech just said, I think people are going to reach for him, and don't do it because I think the Cardinals like their backup. I forget his name. I think he was
Chase Edmonds.
Yeah. Whatever the hell his name is.
He was a beast when DJ was out. So yeah.
I think they like him. Obviously, Kenyon Drake is their number 1 guy, but I'm not reaching first round. I don't even think I go second round with Kenyon Drake at all. So that's just my personal opinion, and it's not even take the bias out because I do want the Cardinals to do good. I live here, blah blah blah, but I'm just not sold on him. That air attack may help him out. They got a lot of receivers, so he could dump it off to him. But I can't. Maybe this year, if he repeats, I can go higher in the following year. But just be careful with this guy. So that's what I got. 13.
So at 13, I got a guy who really benefited from another person having a holdout. Melvin Gordon's holdout was the best thing that ever happened to this guy. We never hear of him if this doesn't happen. So, but other than that, Austin Eckler, you did your thing with your opportunities. 90-plus reception in itself is a success, even though he's not a good runner between the tackles. He's a great PPR guy, but does a bad quarterback play help or hurt him is my big question. That's why I think he's on the verge of a late RB1, early RB2 for me. So that's why I'm taking him in the second round for sure. No way taking him in the first.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So at 13, you guys already talked about him. This is a guy that let me paint a picture for you. I'm sitting in South Korea. I'm winning my semifinals game in my fantasy league. Everything is going in my favor. All of a sudden, the Rams are playing. It's garbage time. They're getting their shit pushed in. They're getting blown out. What happens? Todd Gurley blew up in the last 8 minutes of this football game, and Logsdon over there, I think, accumulated maybe 15 to 20 fantasy points in a matter of 8 minutes of the fourth quarter.
I had Tyler Higbee too, and that's all Jared Goff was doing was running screenplays to Todd Gurley and Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, and I just got just demolished in those last 8 minutes. But Todd Gurley, I think that he brings a lot of capital to Atlanta. Like you said, he's a Georgia guy. I think that he's got a chip on his shoulder also, like you said. So a chip on his shoulder playing in his hometown, what better stage to deliver just an absolute show? And I think Todd Gurley is going to go back to being the guy that he was when the Rams went to the Super Bowl.
So you taking him early second?
Yes.
Okay.
Taking him early second.
Nice. Man, good points there. But all right, we'll go number 12. It's going to be a shocker to everyone, but I'm just going to put it out there. I have Derrick Henry here. This dude is a beast. I know.
I want to stiff arm you right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Earl Thomas ass.
So if I'm in a standard league, this guy's probably going top 3, number 1, number 2. But like, who's to say? I just don't know if he can repeat his performance again. And yes, he is playing for a contract because he got tagged this year. Yes, he did run for over 1,500 yards. Yes, he was the face of that Titans team that went deep in the playoffs and make Ryan Tannehill look like a monster. But he had 18 receptions last year. 18. I don't know. Just the way I play fantasy and PPR, I cannot just be sold on a guy. Derrick Henry is going to go really early, and I'm not going to be the guy who. I mean, like I'm not going to reach for him in my eyes, and he's not going to be there when I want to take him. So, like I said, unpopular opinion, but just my taste. I don't go after a guy who catches 18 balls or less a season. Yeah, so I know he runs for 1,000,000 yards, but I just don't think he repeats that. So,
All right, interesting. All right, so I'm gonna go with Philly's running back, who's been they've been by committee. Doug Peterson's a real committee guy, but I feel like maybe they finally found their guy, in Miles Sanders. After Jordan Howard went down last year, all this guy did was, get 16 carries and 5 targets and 100 yards. That's 15 points before we're even talking touchdowns on average. So an average day for him is 15 points without any touchdowns. This kid is super talented. Coming out of Penn State, a lot of fans thought that he was better than or equal to Saquon whenever he came out of Penn State. Yep. Kind of like we talked about with, Geis and Fournette. College fans can be a little biased, but I'm kind of jumping on the fan wagon. And if I'm in them late picks, I'm probably taking Miles Sanders. I would probably want to take him on the loop on the second round and maybe get a better wide receiver.
Right.
But early second round, I'm way cool with Miles Sanders being my guy.
Yeah, I think he could. Nice. I think he could fall too. So
yeah.
I think that he's one of those those camouflage dudes that will be hidden in the draft, whereas Locks is saying Derrick Henry is going to go probably top 3 because people are dumb. But so at number at number 11, I've got number 12. Yeah, I've got Las Vegas's just shining star, because we know that Carr is a terrible quarterback. Josh Jacobs is really going to lead the way in Vegas. What do you have to say, Gibby?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay, sorry. You looked like you were just going to attack me for that.
I was confused for a second.
How dare you pick a Raiders player?
Yeah, I'm going with Josh Jacobs. This guy was an absolute stud as a rookie. He was a great player, and I think that he's going to continue to grow. I'm very interested in seeing what he brings into this season, and I think that Josh Jacobs is definitely next season he'll be top 10 100%. He's just on that. He's close to that line just because he is so young, and we just need to see more out of him. But I think that this season he's going to put up 1,400 yards, and I just think the touchdowns are going to be his downfall, and that's why he's not in the top 10, because the Raiders don't score.
Yeah, I like that pick. So we're at 11 now. Our last one for this episode, and I'm going to stick with Josh Jacobs right here for 11. So we're kind of on the same page. Look, the Raiders have a top 10 O-line. As long as John Gruden is there, they're going to want to run the ball downhill. And I think Josh Jacobs is fresh. Even when he was in college, he was not utilized the way he probably could have been. He averaged almost 5 yards a carry last year, had 1,150 yards, which was 7th most in the league. And, I just think he's only going to get better, at least for the next couple of years. Look out. Like Gibby said, I like young running backs too. rookie, second-year guys. So look out for this guy to break out. I really like him. I think he's going to be available at the end of the first round, early second, maybe mid-second. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know how your league will be, but look out for Josh Jacobs. I like him a lot, so he's who I have at 11.
Yeah, kind of like what we talked about with kind of our last 4 or 5 picks is you got to know your league. You got to know who people are hyped on and everything. So just know who you're playing with. If you know someone who's just knows names, know that them guys with the big names probably aren't going to fall to you. So make your strategy off that. But I'm going to go with the guy who's pretty overvalued. We've talked about him, Kenyon Drake. There's going to be film on this offense after this first year. So once again, I'm on that loop with that late pick. Him and Miles Sanders are pretty close to me. He's going to be a good pick, I think. But if he goes anywhere before that loop from the first to second, I think he's just not worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's how I feel about this guy I'm about to talk about. So the Cincinnati Bengals are not a good football team. And Joe Burrow isn't going to make them much better of a football team. Joe Mixon is so undervalued as a running back. I don't even know if that's the word. Joe Mixon on the Cowboys is a top 3 pick. Joe Mixon is such a good running back and brings so much to the table, but he's just absolutely forgotten about because he's on a horrible football team. And he's going to continue his career that way. And for that reason, Joe Mixon's outside the top 10 for me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for this guy. I have him. We'll talk about him a little more later, but Gibby. Or no, that's all of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so that's our second round with the running backs here. So we'll come back at you guys with the our top 10. We're pretty excited about that. So let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to our channel for some more fantasy breakdowns and rankings. And all right, thanks, guys.